Michael Heaver of Westminster seems to think that global corruption is fine, that corrupt governments are fine, but that only unrest and that people waking up to the corruption are the problem. So, the citizens need to be kept down by corrupt governments, according to Westminster. According to people that are on the right, when they automatically side with police because they want to side with police. Never mind the fact that they've been raping children or, permitting murderers and terrorists, etc. We just want to forgive the police and side with them, so we just side with them no matter what, don't we, on the right? That's what the right-wingers do. That's why I'm not really a right-winger. I know too much about the global corruption. I know too much about the global conspiracy. I know about the Davos Party. I know about their influence. I know about Soros and the NGOs. I know about Saudi Arabia and the funding. I know about the exporting of Wahhabism and terrorism. I know about the importing. I know about the exporting of jobs. I know about the agenda. I just know it inside out, everything about it. And these people don't. And they just want to side with the police and say, civil unrest is the problem. Yeah. Not Macron. In France there was a big protest recently in Westminster, and Michael Heaver are saying that, they were deploying water cannons and that's a good way of controlling protest. But they're protesting against globalist Macron, who never won any election, who no one approves of, who said that patriotism is the opposite of nationalism. That Orwellian phrase. This person who's a globalist traitor running a corrupt government, apparently you're not supposed to rebel against that. You're supposed to just accept your servitude from your globalist masters and from puppet politicians and not challenge it, because if you challenge it, you're a leftist. Accept your servitude, or you're a leftist. That's what they say. Because rebelling and complaining is a sign of the left, isn't it? And actually doing something and agitating. That's why things get done on the left. That's why culture has been controlled by the left, because they get things done. We just side with the establishment no matter what it is. And I say we. I'm not even with that we. I'm not right or left. I've told you I don't even know how to begin to label it now, because up is down, left is right, inside out is upside down, and friends became enemies, enemies became friends. Who wouldn't be confused? And speaking of friends becoming enemies, Nigel Farage was a friend for a long time, but now he's dissing Tommy, he dissed Anne-Marie Waters, he stopped her getting in, actually, and now he's trying to remove Gerard Batten and force a vote of no confidence in him. How dare you, Nigel? Just prepare to watch your LBC listenership drop off a cliff. And next time Owen Jones calls for you to be removed, no one will defend you, Nigel. Now you're running a campaign called Leave Means Leave. Well, you left, remember? So if leave truly does mean leave, why don't you leave, Nigel? Because you're not required anymore. No one on the right requires you. No one on the left ever required you. No one fighting globalism requires you because you seem to like Islam, because you're scared of actually calling it out because you get called racist then, and you want to prove that you're not racist so much that you actually are prepared to throw away your own side. That makes you a traitor, Nigel. That's what you are. And personally, I knew this about Nigel Farage anyway, because he knew all about the integration with security services of France and so on, and the UK. This integration that was happening, which basically ensures there will not be a Brexit, and that we will be sharing military equipment, and the EU army will basically be subsumed and swamped into our own army because our own military is now controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood. Nigel knew all this. He said nothing. And Nigel doesn't support Tommy because the establishment doesn't support Tommy. And that's because Nigel is the establishment. He's not a rebel. He's not a bad boy. He's not an outsider anymore. He is the establishment. He's become the old guard. He's a gatekeeper. Now we need to reject him.